top monitor is a 27-inch Dell 1440p monitor with a 165 refresh rate. Now, do not do what I do. I basically had this monitor from my last setup, and I was like, I want a bigger one, and I want a better one, and I want one that's not TN, because I was going to my boyfriend's house and using his computer, and I was like, why is the screen so much nicer than mine? I'm kind of jealous. So I bought the same monitor. So yeah, that's it. I bought the same monitor, my bigger one at the bottom, and I love her, my Pixio. Like she's a bad bitch. Anyways, yeah, there's the keyboard. So my keyboard is by Unzi. It is their AL66 wireless mechanical keyboard. And basically I got this keyboard because I wanted something aluminum and sturdy, and I wanted a custom feeling, I'm doing air quotes right now, custom feeling keyboard, but it's not really custom. I didn't do anything, but it sounds really good. Let me do a sound test for you. Wait. Yeah, you can't hear that. But it sounds really nice and it's very smooth, and I didn't want to make my own keyboard, and this is kind of perfect. I do recommend this if you have a little bit more money to splurge on a custom-esque keyboard. That's pretty much it. My mouse is the Razer Death Adder, also wired. Super good mouse. I love it. Super lightweight. It's a little big because I have really small hands. So if you have small hands and you can't handle a mouse that's super big, stay away from the Death Adder. But for me, it's fine. I love it. Actually, it's a good mouse. So my case is the NZXT H5 Flow Compact mid-tower case. It's super nice. Very easy to use. Very user-friendly. And yeah, I do recommend this case if you want something white. I like that the insides are also white. That was a big deal for me when I was, building a new PC. So my AIO is the Sama 240mm in white, and it also has an LCD display. That's the only reason why I got it. I wanted an NZXT dupe, and this is an NZXT dupe. The Kraken dupe. That's pretty much it about that review. That AIO. Next, I want to talk about my graphics card. It is a 3080 gigabyte card. Again, another thing that I saw and I was like, ooh, it's white, I need it in my computer. That's pretty much it. It's a beast of a card. I don't think I'm going to need more than this for a very, 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 very long time. Jumping into the world of PC gaming can be daunting for anyone, even if you are a seasoned console player or someone who just watches a lot of gaming content. So where do I recommend that you start? For those who don't want to build their own PCs or don't want a desktop or anything too bulky, I suggest starting with a laptop. Now, gaming laptops are a little bit controversial in the gaming space just because they are kind of misleading with some of the marketing, as they are not as powerful as their desktop counterparts. For example, if you have a laptop 4080 and compare it to a desktop 4080, the desktop 4080 will be marginally stronger than the laptop 4080. But that fact aside, starting with laptops is very user-friendly, and you can take them with you. You can do a lot of things with them. So I can see the appeal of why someone would want to start here. So the first laptop that I'm going to recommend is the Acer Nitro gaming laptop. It has a RTX 3050 Ti, a Core i5, and it has a 1080p resolution and 16 gigs of RAM. Now, if you are just playing The Sims, this is pretty strong. And it starts at 600 USD. I wouldn't recommend anything above this if The Sims is all you want to play, because this card will be more than good enough. The next laptop I want to recommend is the Acer Nitro V Gaming laptop. It has an AMD processor, an RTX 4050, and is 15 inches. Also a 144 hertz display. I don't know why I didn't mention the hertz of the previous laptop. It is the same hertz as this one as well. And the last laptop I want to recommend is quite expensive, reaching around the $920 range. This is if you really want to be a big baller. It is by HP. It is the Victus line. It has a 4060 GPU, and it also is 144 hertz and also 15 inches. These prices are all in USD, by the way, and I'll be linking them in the description below and also on my Patreon. So now that we have the laptops covered, you've seen all the specs. I do not have them here with myself, so I cannot test them for you, but I can assure you that I am qualified because I do build PCs on the side, and I also have a partner who also builds PCs on the side. So, you know, I can only give my best advice here. But next, I'd like to move on to prebuilts. Now, this is a little more daunting as they are full fat PCs, like the whole shebang. But I wouldn't recommend prebuilds just because you can get a lot more bang out of your buck for building it yourself, or maybe getting somebody you know to build it for you. So just keep that in mind while I give you these recommendations. So the first price is $480 USD. This will get you an AMD Ryzen 5 Pro 2400G, Radeon RX 580, 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and also bonus keyboard, mousepad, and mouse. Now, it's not the most attractive thing in the world according to my, aesthetic preferences, but it is a great starting point for anyone who's looking to just, try and dip their toes into the gaming space and they don't want to spend $1,000+ on a PC. The next desktop I'm going to recommend is called the STG Auburn Gaming PC. It has an Intel Core i3, a GeForce GTX 1660 Super, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM, and comes with a headphones, keyboard, mousepad, and mouse, which is a lot. And honestly, a lot of that stuff might be e-waste, the extra bits, but if you have nothing and you just need something to get you started, again, this is a great place to start. And a 1660 Super is not a card to scoff at, especially for The Sims 4. So the next price point is $750, and that would be the HP Pavilion gaming desktop. Now I see this desktop floating around a lot on Facebook Marketplace, probably with different specs, but this one has an Intel Core i5, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060, 12 gigabytes, and 8 gigabytes of RAM. Oh my gosh. And also comes with a keyboard and mouse. Now this will get you a little bit more horsepower than the last two recommendations, and the price jump is a little bit drastic, but you do get an 3060, and that card is holding up very well, especially if you're just playing The Sims. Like, it's kind of overkill, definitely overkill if you're just playing The Sims. But I wanted to give a price point for every person. Anyways, the next PC is the Skytech Gaming Nebula PC desktop, sporting an Intel Core i5, an NVIDIA RTX 4060, 16 gigabytes of DDR RAM, and no extra peripherals. What a shock. All the computers have had extra peripherals, but not this one. You're slacking. Anyways, this, again, it's $849. You can play The Sims, basically anything on this computer. I definitely recommend if you're into things more than just The Sims, and if you have a little bit extra cash to splurge. Now that marks the end of the pre-built section. The next section is desktops that I have actually made myself in PC Part Picker and have experience building in the real world. So I know that these combos are pretty good for their pretty good bangs for their bucks. I'm not saying that right, am I? No, definitely not. Anyways, they are good quality, good value, and I can assure you that you will not be wasting money. So the first thing we have on PC Part Picker is an AMD Ryzen 5 5500 processor. I'm not going to go through all of these, but you know, just so you can get the gist of the thing. An ASRock motherboard. Motherboards really are pretty irrelevant as long as it works and it matches your CPU. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anyone would spend a lot of money on that, but that's besides the point. 2 sticks of 16 gigabytes, a solid state drive, the RX 5800, the Gamadios Talos case, and a 550 watt ATX power supply. And this comes up to $407. I mean, this is a great starter build. Again, it's kind of reminiscent of the desktop the pre-built that I was talking about for $480. But you know, this shaves off $80 extra. So if you're feeling, you know, a little fancy. So the next PC that is on this list is for $500. And it also has an AMD Ryzen 5 5500. The same motherboard, the same RAM, everything's the same except the video card, which I've changed out for the RX 6600, and it's 8 gigabytes. And basically, this will get you a little bit more power for $100 more, especially if you're looking to play pretty much every game at 1080p medium to high settings. And you could switch this out for a 3050 gigabyte if you only want NVIDIA. But again, this is if you only want NVIDIA and you like absolutely hate everything about AMD. You can get a 3050, but I'm not recommending. So the next PC on this list is a little bit of an upgrade from the last two. The last two PCs were sporting 5500 CPUs, but the budget is upped a little bit more, so we got a little more wiggle room. I found with a 4068 gigabyte card, which is quite pricey. It's $284, which brings the price up to $700. But I've gone with the same case and just a more beefy cooler, because this CPU will pump out a little more heat because it's stronger than the 5500. Yes, this PC is also pretty much good for every game at 1080p, medium to high settings, but with higher FPS than the last game, and most games at 1440p. But it's a little bit stretching it. If you only want to play The Sims, do not go beyond this point. Do not spend more money than $650. $650 is actually quite a lot of money to be spending on just for The Sims. But if you're a big baller, listen, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to stop you from buying expensive things. Anyways, the next PC on my recommended build it yourself DIY list is $850, and a few things have changed. I have changed out the sticks of RAM for Team Group Elites, same 16 gigabytes, but it is DDR5. The motherboard has changed to the MSI Pro A620M. It's a micro ATX board. The CPU has changed to the AMD Ryzen 5 7600. It is a 6-core processor. And the video card, have I already talked about this? I don't know. And the power supply has changed to the EVGA 750 watts bronze certified power supply. And this build totals up to around $800. Okay, the next PC I'm going to talk about. I said I'm not going to talk about them all, but here I am blabbing, so I guess we're going through them all. So the next desktop is good for every game at 1440p or 1080p high FPS. This is recommended. Again, I said do not go past the 650. If you play games like Resident Evil, Alan Wake, The Last of Us, any AAA games that are very graphically demanding, this PC will definitely do you justice, I assure you. We've changed out the CPU for an AMD Ryzen 7 7700. It is an 8-core processor. I've changed out the cooler for a white cooler, but you don't have to. Just something a little more beefy. And I've gone with the RX 6800 16 gigabyte video card, the Game Max Destroyer case, and the Thermaltake Tough Power 600 watt gold certified power supply. Now, again, like I said, this desktop will take you through most AAA games. And the last PC, which is closest to my own personal build, why I didn't just put my own specs here so you can just, you know, buy what I have, is pretty hard to get what I have. And some of the stuff that I have is not recommended because when I bought them, the prices were inflated and a lot of things were going on. And you could definitely get better value out of your computer than I have at the current moment. But the closest thing to my computer would be the same CPU from the last build, the Ryzen 7 7700 and the RX 7900 16 gigabyte video card by AMD. Now, this thing it will be a beast. You probably won't have to upgrade for a very, very long time, and that is a good thing. But you can switch out this video card for the RTX 4070, but again, you will get more value out of your money if you go with an AMD card. Just an FYI, my build is around $1,000 to $1,200 and has a used GPU and CPU from Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt and take my, you know, don't look to my build for, builds. Don't copy my builds because it will be difficult. Especially finding this card for decent. It's just messy. Don't do it. Okay. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope you got some good tips and advice from this video. And yeah, thank you. Check out my Patreon for the master list. Oh, check out my Patreon for the specs master list. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my first ever Patreon who has signed up. It's so exciting. All right. So I want to give a huge shout out to my first Patreon member, Aaliyah Wright. Thank you so much for becoming a member of the Panic Pixies. It is so exciting that somebody, you know, feels like my content is worth investing in. That means so much to me. And yeah, check out my Patreon for the specs master list so you can get your hands on it. And thank you for watching. See you soon, Pixies. Bye bye.